system, and the presentation will also be available later on. Yeah, we will begin with our presentation on Germany's research funding landscape, followed by 6 speaker contributions through presentations or interviews featuring those international experts we have invited. They all come from diverse academic and funding backgrounds, and we have designed a well-structured program that aligns with the academic career stages of our speakers. We will start with the pre-PhD phase and end with an established professor. After that, there will be plenty of time for your questions. And yeah, finally, please remember today's focus is solely on funding, and put that in mind when writing down some questions. And yeah, that's it from my end for now. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce my dear colleague, Inji Nafi.
Yes, thank you very much, Clarissa, and we're very glad to have once more to have you and to have everyone joining us today to our session on funding, and just to give you an overview on how everything works, how funding looks like, the opportunities that you have in Germany. I'm going to give you an introduction, and we can dive in and seeing amazing examples from our speakers right afterwards. So I will start sharing my screen. Now I think you're now seeing my notes. I'll try it one more time. 1 second, I think this should be it. Nope, also. Okay, one last time. Because I already am sharing from here. Okay, I think that looks
perfect.
That looks good. Yes, perfect, terrific. Yes, so let's maybe start with some facts and figures about Germany when it comes to doing research in Germany. First of all, Germany is highly research oriented. It is one of the countries that spends the most on research and development, and has a broad research organization structure that you'll get to know in a few moments, and well-trained research personnel. And we hope to get even more trained research personnel like you participating with us today. And of course, it's internationally networked. And here you can see some numbers and some facts and figures. And to show more how international the German landscape is, here again are some interesting numbers. First of all, more than 60,000 are international academic staff at universities in Germany. We're speaking of over 16,000 of academics at non-university research institutes, and I'm going to share or tell you a little bit more what non-university research institutes are. And last but not least, international guests and researchers from, I think, last year or 2 years ago, we're speaking about more than 30,000. So that also shows how welcomed the international researchers are in Germany. And if you're thinking of joining a research facility in Germany, there are multiple stakeholders, and here they're scattered on this screen or on this slide. And here you can see on the one hand the research organization that are classified according to type of financing. Especially to the extent in which they're financed, if it's a public or private funds. And on the other side, you can see the institutions that are arranged according to extent of where they're involved, if they're more involved in basic or applied research. So this again gives you an overview. Where do you see yourself, in which part or which facility might be interesting or appealing for you? And I already mentioned the non-university research institutions, because this is something a little bit different and unique in Germany, because Germany has, for instance, 4 large and internationally renowned non-university research institutions with research budgets in the billions, and they are funded for the most part by federal and state governments. And here is again to show that around 16,000 or even more of foreign nationals were employed are employed there as academics and researchers. So maybe you can find yourself there. And again, a little bit of insight, what they entail, in which research fields they're presented and they're there. So if we're speaking of Helmholtz or Max Planck Association, Max Planck Gesellschaft, Leibniz, they all do basic research. And they're presented in, or they're focusing on different fields of research, from energy to earth, environment, health, and so on. And on the other hand, Fraunhofer, for instance, they focus on applied research, and they also have a wide range of research opportunities when it comes to bioeconomy, digital healthcare, artificial intelligence, and many others. So if any of
Sorry to
Yes,
interrupt you for a second. Could you
sure.
allow me to share Slido as well, or you close your Slido that I can share the questions now?
Yes, let me see if I can do that from here.
Because we all want to know you and what your disciplines are, so that would be great.
Yes, 1 second. Mhm. I actually closed it. Is it still possible for you to view?
I can see that there is an active Slido session, and it would be great if you could close that active session so that I can start everything from my end again, because it seems like it doesn't work.
Yes. Okay. Okay, I think the active, oh, yeah, I think. Okay, maybe now it should work.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, terrific. This is teamwork. Great. Yes, exactly. So here again, the research field, and as Clarissa was just saying, we're interested to know in which field you are. Also, it would be very interesting for us and also for our speakers to know who you are and who's joining us today. Yeah, perfect. Then I would move to our next slide, our main topic of today, which are the funding opportunities. And I'd like to share with you the different funding organizations, research funding programs, and some examples for you to see, okay, what is possible and what fits to your portfolio. So in addition to the organizations that I was just showing, there are various or wide-ranging funding system with various areas of particular emphasis. For instance, the DFG is the largest funder for research at higher education institutions and non-university research institutions in Germany, with an annual funding of volume for almost 4 billion euros, which was 2023. The Another important player or stakeholder is the DAD, where Clarissa and I work. The DAD, German Academic Exchange Service, is the world's largest funding organization for international student and academic exchange. Also, a very renowned institution is the Humboldt Foundation, which gives funding for outstanding individual academics. And I think we're glad to have also a couple of persons who have experience with the Humboldt Foundation and will share with you their insights. Non-university research institutions not only conduct research, but also provide funding and support PhD students and academics with scholarships and employment contracts. So here I will show you in a couple of slides some examples. And last but not least, there are the public and private foundation awards that awards individual scholarships with different areas of focus. And Germany offers even more opportunities and tries to foster cooperation between industry, science, and provides support for innovative business and startups. And here are some programs, such as the Excellence Strategy, that supports universities and research institutions by enabling them to extend their own research and strengthen their leading international positions. Other funding programs, such as the High-Tech Gründerfonds, that supports researchers directly, enabling them to pursue specific research projects. And also very much worth mentioning are the European Research Framework programs, or the one specifically Horizon Europe. It is also of great importance for German research, and the program facilitates collaboration and strengthens the impact of research and innovation by developing, supporting, and implementing EU policies, while at the same time tackling global challenges. It supports the creation of better dissemination of knowledge and technology, and with over 25 billion euros is being made available for excellent science. And these funds will be allocated to various programs, including the European Research Council, the ERC, and many other different programs and scholarships that I'm going to show you in a couple of slides. And here I just highlighted 3 examples that I would like to share a little bit more in detail with you. First of all, the Excellence Strategy that is in Germany. It's a new initiative. Well, it started 2005 until 2017. That was like the first run. And yes, the presentation will be uploaded to our website, so no need to write anything down. Yes, so here the Excellence Strategy is something that is very unique. And what happens within this this strategy? The government invests in universities and in alliance and building cooperation, and invests, I think it was about 4 billion euros to graduate schools, to build excellence clusters and future-oriented projects in order to boost and create outstanding training facilities, as well as funding opportunities and research opportunities for potential researchers. So there was just a couple of months ago, I think in May, a new run with new excellence clusters. So I would definitely advise you to take a look at the new or upcoming clusters, because they're frequently looking for young researchers or researchers to conduct research there. They're also focusing a lot on interdisciplinary research. So we're sure you'll definitely find great opportunities there. Another program is Exist. It is a program that supports university-based business startups in various ways. So here are 4 examples of Exist programs. One is for business startups, one are specifically focusing on women, some focus on transfer of research, and also for potentials. So if you're interested, you can take a closer look at this program. Another worth mentioning funding opportunity or funding possibility is Horizon Europe, as I mentioned earlier. And here they have multiple pillars, and they have this excellent science pillar that supports frontier research projects defined and driven by researchers themselves via the European Research Council. And it funds fellowships and exchanges for researchers through the Marie Curie actions, and invests the world's class research infrastructure. And I think we have also a speaker today who will give us a little bit of insight about his experience when it comes to Marie Curie applications. Yes, and in terms of participation in the Horizon Europe and the funding received, Germany ranks first among all participating countries. Okay. I think if you're joining us today, you're already decided or thinking of joining or being part of the German research landscape. And here again, a short summary about why you should think harder on joining Germany and doing your research here. First of all, you have access to innovative research infrastructures and resources, opportunities for free and creative development, generous funding opportunities. Again, you will get to listen to many amazing examples and experiences, and the scope of international and interdisciplinary network is very wide. And last but not least, in Germany, there's a focus also on social and ecological responsibilities when it comes to conducting research. And there are different types of grants or of scholarships or of funding that you can receive. And here, because everyone is a little bit overwhelmed, what is scholarship, what is fellowship, and where can I see myself in one? And here's just a short introduction or a short summary. Scholarships, they provide financial supports for students and are offered by institutions such as the German Academic Exchange Service, the DAD, as well as foundations and nonprofit organizations. And they have a typical duration of 1 to 3 years for a PhD with extension possible. And they are often also merit-based with specific focus areas. Exactly. Moving on to research grants. The research grants enable scientists and scholars to undertake a research project on a defined subject with a limited period of time. So they're always time bound. And they support scientific research projects either initiated by the researcher themselves or funded within established projects. They are provided by funding institutions as well as nonprofit organizations or the European Union programs. The research fellowships, they are usually individual fellowships, and they fund an academic research position at a university or similar research institution. And they are offered by institutions such as Alexander von Humboldt, the EU, like Marie Curie, and or for instance from the DFG, the Emmy Noether program, and they provide funding for independent research, often with international mobility options. And another option, and we also have, if I'm not mistaken, 2 candidates today with employment. So you can be a part of or get a funding in sort of salary where you're conducting a research as a research assistant or research associate at a university or non-university research institution. And there are often opportunities for paid doctoral positions in research training groups or other structured programs. And it is intended for PhD candidates, postdocs, researchers, and can be in full or part-time. And it is usually initiated for postdoctoral with further qualifications like junior professorship or professor or research group leaders. Yes, exactly. And usually you're under the pillar or under the structure of the German public sector salaries when it comes to that. And for a company, you can also conduct your research as an employment in a company, but they're usually part-time so that you still have the opportunity to reach out and have time for your research, because it has to still be under supervision of a university professor. Where can you find all these funding opportunities or multiple of them? I would definitely advise you to check out our scholarship database. So just typing dad.de and change the language. In the middle of the page, you will find the option to click on scholarships for Germany. If you click further, you will find the database. By the way, the database does not only include DAAD scholarships, but also from other institutions. So here you'll have the opportunity and the possibility to see multiple. And the first thing you do would be to refine your search, and you can type in which academic level you are, which country, because some scholarships are also dedicated to specific countries, your discipline, and last but not least, your intention. Are you planning a short stay? Would you like to do a doctoral, be a doctoral candidate, or just a training? And then the filter will show you the different opportunities that may you have, and it's always updated. Some are standards that always reoccur, and others can just come and be added to it. So keep an eye on the database for sure, and the deadlines. And a little bit of an overview of potentials we have here, for instance, for PhD students, the DAD scholarship programs that offers the opportunity to complete your doctoral degree in Germany. And the program provides funding for doctoral projects at state or state-recognized institutions of higher education or a non-university research institute in Germany. And it can be an individual project or participation in a structured doctoral study program. And the funding is provided for a maximum of 4 years. And with here you can see the monthly payment and further allowances like sometimes payment towards health, accident, or liability insurance. Travel allowances can be included, and as well as annual research allowances. Again, these are examples. You have to always take a look at the one that fits to your portfolio and what it entails. The same goes for the requirements, what you need for each program. You have to see if your portfolio also fits to that. Here is just another example at the Max Planck Society, where here in this case you have a work contract, also for instance for 3 years with possible of extension. Funding, an example for funding for postdoc is the Eminuta program from the DFG. Here, for instance, you can see it's a longer duration. It can be an employment contract plus a project funding. And here you can see the expenses for staff and direct projects funding are salary for the research group leader. So this is also a very interesting program that you can take a look at. The ERC from the from the EU, also, which is a research funding for research projects, and here again in combination with an employment contract and as well as project funding. And here you can see it's with a large budget. And for experienced researchers, there are long-term research projects. This one is from the Humboldt Research Fellowship, and exactly it enables early career and established researchers from abroad to conduct their own research in collaboration with an academic host of their choice at a research institution in Germany. There are also professorship positions here, as an example, at the Leibniz Association, again with employment contract and funding. And there are also short research stays in case you just want to be in Germany for a short period of time, 14 to 3 months. There are also frameworks or funding for that, as well as also a little bit longer research grants. Okay, where can you find more information? Because we know that was a very quick brief, just a little bit of insights. We know there's a lot to research. There are different platforms where you can take a closer look at the information. We would definitely advise you to visit the Research in Germany website, where we have a database for PhD positions, where you can start looking and having the opportunity to see different research areas and institutions that conduct research in these frameworks. We have, you can of course follow us on the different social media channels that we offer, and of course participate in different sessions that we organize. Here's a short teaser. We're speaking of, we were having an event with some renowned non-university research institutions, the one I mentioned also today on the 18th of November. So save the date and stay updated, and here you can get lots of valuable information, as well as on our brochures. But you can browse through the different options in the PowerPoint when you have it. And last but not least, thank you very much for your attention. And yes, Larsa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Angie, for that insightful presentation. I think we are all very informed about the German research funding system now, and we will get live experiences now. So we will now hear from our first guest speaker, who is originally from Greece, but has been living in Germany since 2019. She completed her master's degree with a DAAD scholarship and has since been working as a research associate in engineering, funded through a university employment contract at TU Dresden. Antonia, we are so glad having you with us today. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Clarissa. Good evening, everyone. Before I start, let me just share my screen with you. Perfect. I hope you can see it.
Yes, perfectly.
Thank you. Thank you also, Ingi, for the very nice overview. I am Antonia. I am from Greece. I live in Germany for the past almost 6.5 years. And currently, I am an employed researcher in a public university in TU Dresden, which, if people don't know it, it's on the east side of Germany, kind of close to Berlin. Now, a bit about my past and how I came here. I completed my undergraduate studies in engineering, oil and gas technology in Greece, and then I decided I would like to pursue further postgraduate engineering studies in Germany, and excuse me, and I applied for a DAAD scholarship, which fully funded my master's here in Germany. In the meantime, in between studies and changing places around Germany, I also worked for the industry, both in Greece and in Germany, for around 4 years. And 2.5 years ago, I decided I would like further to pursue my academic background. So I applied, what I will just show you in a couple of seconds, in a public university, and I am a hired researcher. So what does that mean? As Ingi showed us, there is different opportunities for postdocs, PhDs. I'm talking about the PhD level. I'm pursuing my doctorate in engineering, which is slightly different from PhD, but still a doctoral title. And I am employed from a German public university. What does that mean for everybody who is maybe interested in something like this? Means that you are a direct employee for different universities, TU Dresden, for example, Berlin, München, Hochschule, whatever that would be. The level is for postgraduate people, so people who have completed undergraduate studies. The duration usually is 3 years, and it's a contract-based duration, and the type of funding, as I mentioned, is full of or part-time, and it's a work contract, which means it's a salary-based. With that being said, maybe we can have a bit, what does that mean? So there's a couple of important aspects. If people have already maybe experienced how a lump sum of a scholarship is a bit different when it comes to working contracts. So for example, when it comes, in my case, the contract can be either full or part-time. That depends on the necessity of the institute and what they need and what they look for. The employment structure, as I said, is a work contract that follows the German public system TVL, as Ingi also mentioned. It can be full or part-time, but what is important is that this is a fixed term. Now, with that being said, the financial aspects included for that, we have a monthly salary that is being set from the government, wherever you are placed. For example, I am in Dresden, which is part of the Saxony Bundesland or region in Germany. So that is a fixed salary I take every year. But that also implies that we have to pay tax and social contributions for that. But at the same time, health insurance, pension contribution, and social other contributions is everything covered through the salary we are receiving. The responsibilities now is a bit, I would like to say, a mix. Since you are an employee in a public university, you are not only pursuing your research, but you also have university duties. So that includes, in most cases, conducting experiments, assisting with undergraduate courses, supervising people, other students who are doing their undergraduate thesis, and of course you have your administrative work. As a public university, there's a lot of that, I would say. Maybe some considerations from my experience and from exchanging thoughts with other people, especially international people who are in same position like me. The pros, I really focus on the financial and career development that somebody has here during an employment contract, because that gives space and I will say mental freedom from somebody to pursue with the research here. Most universities, especially when it comes to science and engineering, they are very much into collaboration with industry. So you get to be part of smaller or bigger projects, actually, with collaboration with the industry. You usually have university resources, which means everything from discounts to accesses to software licenses and the flexibility in working hours. Some challenges that we also should note at this point is that maybe for some people it's a bit challenging to balance simultaneous roles, and always the fact of a fixed term contract, which should be renewed. Now, usually where we look for such opportunities, Ingi already gave a very nice overview. We have, I will say, the Holy Grail, the database, but also your access, which there you can also find, it's a portal for European-based research positions. Platforms, I mean here usually in social media, ResearchGate for people who know, but also the universities themselves, in most cases, they post these job ads there so you can find them. And a big aspect also close to that is networking. So in most cases, people are looking into the institutes and the professors, they are contacting them, they participate in events like these. Keep in touch with people who have been through universities, because it's a very important aspect. I have some tips maybe for people who, just a second, for people who actually would like to pursue something like this. So it is important because we are talking about a job ad, but whatever when it comes to applications, we have to understand the requirements, because it depends on the field, on the project, on the university, on the professor, I will say, to what extent German is necessary for you to be employed in the university. A strong application is the must, I will say. And emphasis on the motivational letter, especially I remember it from my case. I came from a new field, still engineering. I had to sell myself, my experiences, to prove that I would like to enter this new engineering phase. It is always good to reach out before and after applying in such positions. You prepare very good for the interview, and then after the interview, it's always good to follow up. And there is a reason why I mentioned that. The reason for this is maybe some highlights from my personal journey from that. I myself found the opportunity on DAD database. Since already being familiar with the portal through my scholarship of the master's, I was aware where to look. That was an advantage. I applied, the deadline closed, and nobody got back to me. I was a bit disappointed because I really wanted to enter a new field. So what I did, I sent a follow-up email to the research group leader, actually, to know what's happening, if anybody was already hired. And actually it was not, they just didn't have time, or it got my CV, maybe got lost through hundreds of emails. We got in touch, I was interviewed, and I secured the positions. And the reason, as I said, I was really into this is because I'm coming from an oil and gas energy background. And due to several reasons and my personal interest, of course, I wanted to transition to a new engineering specialization. And actually that gave me the freedom through this position here in the university. It was expanded and possible. As I mentioned already, the exposure to industry through collaboration is a very, very nice advantage, something that I don't see, for example, in my country, when it comes to doctorate and PhD studies, at least, here is completely different, especially on the engineering path. The networking and information exchange is a huge advantage. And of course, since we are researchers, we are actually requested and we are supported to participate in national and international conferences where we can show the impact of our research and get to expose our institute, our research, and the foundation we are representing. That was maybe a short overview of how a contract employment for doctorate and engineering studies is here in Germany. I would love to connect with you, and if anybody has questions, I'm here.
Thank you so much, Antonia. We got a lot of insightful and inspiring perspectives on your PhD funding journey. And we will move on. Let me share my screen. Yes, so next we will hear from Manuel, a promising young academic from Ghana, focused on sustainable mobility. And he arrived in Germany with funding from an Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship 6 months ago, and is now exploring PhD funding opportunities. Manuel, you are still in Bonn, right? So what was your journey like applying for the Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship, and how did you prepare for the application process?
Hi everyone. It's nice meeting you again. I'm currently not in Bonn anymore. I'm in Kassel, my host city. I'm sorry I didn't inform you when I left Bonn. But yeah. Um, so I by chance found my opportunity, I would say. I had then just finished with my Master of Philosophy in Transport Geography, and I wanted to transition to industry also. But in Ghana, we don't really do much of research in industry. So I wanted to do something like a research fellowship where I am doing research but not being assessed or not writing a thesis kind of thing. So I came across the International Climate Protection Fellowship because I'm very much interested in issues regarding sustainable mobility, active mobility, and I found the opportunity. Unfortunately, I found it about 3 days to the closing, to the deadline, and I had started the process already, and I needed a few documents here and there, so I contacted my current host, and she was like, "It's almost done. So let's try for next year." And I told her, okay, fine. But luckily for me, the deadline was extended by another 6 days. And because I had already started the application process, so I was allowed to do it. So I pushed in my application, and I think I didn't hear from Humboldt till June, where I was shortlisted with other 40 people. And this meant we had to be competing for 20 slots. And 40 people competing for 20 slots. For my side, we are competing for 15 because 5 goes to postdocs and 15 goes to early career researchers and prospective leaders. So I had to make some sacrifices, hard decisions like leaving my job where I was acting as a research assistant to focus on preparing for this Humboldt interview. I was lucky to know some people who were past fellows and were Ghanaians. And so I reached out to them. They helped me. I reached out to other fellows who had also been in my university, proud to me coming. So they guided me with my interview process and everything. And then I went into the interview in September. And by 13th September. I still remember that date because it was very special to me. 30th September, I got the email that I'd been chosen for the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. And that was one of the best moments in my life, actually. And yes, then I came to Bonn in January, and yeah, now I'm here.
Wow, what a journey. And congratulations again. I think that
Thank
was
you.
a great step, an important step towards your future career.
Yeah.
And if I'm not wrong, you're now looking for funding for a PhD in Germany. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. I have been um, looking for opportunities actually to pursue a PhD, continue with what I am doing here. And the good thing about it is I recently applied for a DAD funding. So this would, if I get it, then it means this will be the second time I'm benefiting from DAD funding. The first time was the Sustainable Mobility Academy in Wildau. That was in 2023. So I got to join. So yes, I'm looking at these opportunities, but not just DAD. I explore the access also. I check out universities. I keep asking if I make use of AI. I must say this: I make use of AI. I just ask AI, give me the about 5 universities that have full funding where I can research on this topic, and then AI does that. And then I go to each of the universities' websites to see if there are open vacancies and all. Sometimes there are no open vacancies, but I just code email the professors. Now, the good thing about this is the fact that I always introduce myself as a Humboldt Fellow, and then I get immediate responses compared to when I was in Ghana some years ago and I just like, I have a master's in blah, blah, blah. It takes long, but because I say I'm a Humboldt Fellow, they reply, okay, maybe I'm not the one. They tell me they are not the ones responsible for this topic. Then they refer me to another professor. And I have been, thanks to Humboldt Fellowship, I've been able to meet a number of academics through these Humboldt networks and event study tours. So I'm able to also establish contacts with some professors I think would be vital, or not just professors, but even research institutions where I think I would be vital for my PhD. So it's not been easy. I wouldn't say it's easy. Some people think yes, once you're in Germany, it's going to be smooth. You're already going to get it, but it's not as rosy as it is. You have to put in the hard work. Also, so like I'm doing now, I'm keeping my fingers crossed to get some of the funding opportunities. Yeah, and some of them, the deadlines were passed before I found them. So for anyone who is looking for opportunities, I'll say start applying, keep checking every month. Some are yet to open. So I have put on my calendar a reminder that probably on the 5th of this opportunity opens. So check it out. So these are some of the things I do to keep up with timelines and in my research work because it's very busy here when you're doing research in Germany. And like Antonia said, it's a lot of demand, especially when you are known to be a researcher. Everyone is pulling you in. You are supervising students, so sometimes you may not even get time. You may forget the purpose for which you are here also. So those are some of the strategies I've employed in finding research opportunities in Germany. But so far it's been good. Yeah.
Wow, thank you, Manuel, for sharing all those insights. I think, yeah, it's so interesting because you are in the middle of the process, and those insights are very
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you so much. I didn't need to ask too many questions because you answered them already.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for this motivation, inspiration, and those hands-on tips.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we will move on now.
Thank you. All right.
So originally, we would have now continued with a successful lady. Her name is Evi Mariana, but unfortunately, she cannot be here today. So I will just briefly summarize her portfolio so that you still feel like she was here in a tiny way. Evie is a PhD candidate still at the moment in the International PhD Program of Agricultural Economics, Bioeconomy and Sustainable Food Systems, or IPPAE called at the JLU Gießen. And Evie received a DAAD scholarship for both her master's and PhD studies, and she transitioned from an academic research career in Germany to her current role in the private sector in Indonesia. And Evie has an interesting merge of an academic career and one in the private sector. And that's it for Evie, I think, because, yeah, she cannot be here, but this was a little summary. So let's now continue with Mikel, who is based in Berlin at TU Berlin. And he just finished his PhD in mechanical engineering and will share with you his variety of research funding. And yeah, Mikel, congrats again from our side. And the floor is yours.
Can I share my presentation or?
Please, go ahead.
Okay, I'll share my big screen.
I think, Clarissa, you need to stop sharing yours.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Now I think I have the lead. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. So as Clarice stated, I'm Michel from Brazil. I just finished my PhD, and I'm so fresh as a PhD that I cannot even use the title yet because I need to send the corrections of my dissertation before I can use the title. So I'm still officially master. And I did my PhD in simulation of machining process using molecular dynamics. And interesting thing about my PhD is that my PhD was a joint degree, which means I'm a student. I was a student in two different universities. In my case, TU Berlin in Germany and Federal University of Santa Catarina in Brazil. And I prepare one slide about this type of PhD. If I have time, I can dig upon it. So who am I, where I come from? I said that I'm from Brazil, and I'm originally from Bahia, Salvador. And I finished my bachelor there in mechanical engineering. Then I worked in the middle of the Amazon forest for 3 years as a mechanical engineer there before I decided to come back to academia again. And when I decided that, I chose the south of Brazil, which has a strong connection with Germany, and specifically Florianópolis, the capital of the state of Santa Catarina. For those who know, it's a paradise. For those who doesn't know, it's also a paradise, okay? As you can see, it's an island, very beautiful, and nice people. And the university is also good for one of the best in Brazil. And for those who want to do the same journey I did, like move from Brazil or other countries to Germany, I have some tips, some fundings. I will start with two from Brazil, very specific. The first one is called DAD CAPS. So DAD has a fixed annually, let's say that, research funding with CAPS, which is a Brazilian institution. And it encompasses all three types of PhD, the full PhD, the joint degree, as I did, and the sandwich, which is a short staying PhD. We also have a contract, a fixed contract with a DFG. If you come to Germany, you're gonna hear this word a lot, these three letters, DFG, because they are the institution responsible to funding base research. And they have a special contract with São Paulo in Brazil, and it's possible to apply for international projects any time in the year if you have a contact in São Paulo, for example. DFG, now in moving to Germany, DFG fund projects. The projects must be related with ground research, and normally what is funded is a work contract. It's a normally 2 years work contract with a possible extension of extra 1 or 2 years. It depends on the type of the funding you applied for. There is even special fundings with 3 years fundings, with possible extensions of 3 years, 4 times until you complete 12 years in these projects. But those projects are very specific. And I really recommend DFG as well to find to build some project together with a German professor. Another one, this one I didn't show last time. It's very specific for engineers, or because it's related with industry. It's not that it pays just for engineers, but the engineers will take most benefit from this. It's called SIM in Germany, and it has 2 types: national one, national in Germany. So the government funds 1 employee until 60% of 1 employee in a company. It must be a small or medium-sized company, and a full 100% of 1 researcher and in 1 university. The best part of SIM is that they are really fast. If you have already a scope defined with a company, the whole process would take about 5 months until the money is ready. And the second type of SIM is the international SIM, which is a bit more complicated because it requires 4 different players. 1 university in Brazil, 1 university in Germany, a company in Germany, 1 university abroad in 1 country, and whatever the country needs. Basically, you need a SIM here in Germany and something similar in another country. In Brazil, for example, is Embrapi project. In Brazil, we need 3 players, not 2, so it's 1 player extra. And it's also fast, and it can fund people with work contracts. Another type is really local, so each university may have a different way to fund researchers for a short period. In the case of TU, there was the possibility to pay for guest researchers, for example, up to 6 months. And now it's a bit tough because of the cuts, but is to attract researchers, the ones who are invited here for a short period of time. I started with this research for this funding, for example. I put here scholarship, but there is not the word they use here in Germany. They use like Anschubsfinanzierung. That's the word. And be sure you have a story ID because it's very important to document. The other type that they will, and probably many other universities they pay for is in Germany it's called Anschubsfinanzierung, which is a kind of funding you pay a researcher to find a project, a larger project. I'm currently in this kind of situation. I'm a worker at TU, and I've been paid since January this year to seek another project. Nowadays, it's really hard to find this position, but it's still possible in many universities. Before I close, I put it hidden, but I will show you unhide slides. So I just want to show you, for those who doesn't know or who are interested in joint degree, as known as cocktail as well, is a type of contract between 2 universities from different countries, and both universities agree to give one student the same degree once he completes the whole process. In my case, the universities were TU Berlin in Germany and Federal University of Brazil in Santa Catarina. And there are two types. Basically, it's possible that the university you want to apply for has already a well-established contract with another university, so it's easier to do the process. That was not my case. And the second type is based on case by case. So that was my situation. I said I want to do it. My advisor here in Germany said, okay. My advisor in Brazil said, okay. Everybody was agreed. And I started the process, which took me more than 9 months to complete. And that's a normal time to complete this type of process, okay? The first step, first thing I want to let clear is you need to apply twice for the PhD. That means you're going to be two students in both universities. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because sometimes people trying to put you in a different box, like you were a Erasmus student or a different student, but you are a regular student in both universities. In short, just tell people you are in Cototel if you really need to tell people. Otherwise, you are just a student. That avoid problems. A few tips: find contracts, previous contract. That helped me a lot, but be aware it won't be enough because they outdate. Read the regulations of both universities, because you're going to need to. It's important to find some middle grounds, and put everything possible in your contract really clear, especially the evaluation board configuration, how grades you will be given, and how many protocols will be necessary. And finally, if you're one of the universities like in Brazil that you have a really short, not a short, but a defined time to finish your PhD plus extension, write the contract with the whole time, regular time plus extension. That would avoid to apply for the extension and apply for the extension of contracts. So that saves time as well. And be aware that even with all those tips, it's gonna be tough because it's twice more bureaucracy, okay? And finally, I want to say that only do it if really need it. There are some cases fundings are given for Cototel, like the first one I showed between CAPS and DAD. They have a special one for Cototel, but doesn't mean it's any better in terms of funding. Okay. Hope I didn't speak too much, and I'm open for questions in the end, especially if you have doubts about Cototel or some fundings.
Thank you, Mikael, for sharing your many different funding experiences with us, and especially this joint program. I think it's very interesting in a very individual way, and so great that you share this experience with us. Yeah, we will continue now.
I think Mikael wants to mention something, right?
I really forgot that one of the most important things, my funding with DAD, I didn't explicitly said that the university, they helped me to find a funding with DAD. It was a funding to finish my PhD. It was through the university, but was paid from DAD, and it was a 6-month funding for students who are in the very last months of the thesis.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that side note. Yeah, so many different funding versions, so it's not good to forget some of them. Your portfolio is very diverse. Okay, so now we will continue. Let me share my screen now. All right, you should be seeing my screen now. Yeah, our next candidate is Dr. Marcos Martinez Fernandez. He will share his experience of receiving an Alexander von Humboldt funding and navigating through international research opportunities as a young researcher. Marcos, we are so happy you are here with us today. The Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship provides excellent conditions for your postdoc. So how did you find the process of preparing your research proposal?
Thank you very much, Rebecca. As you say, this fellowship provides fantastic opportunities, but securing it requires careful planning. Before even thinking about the application, you need to find the right research group. To do so, I used academic social networks like ResearchGate, Twitter, or LinkedIn, and I also reached out to colleagues and friends already living in Germany. Through this, I found a group that perfectly matched my research interest, and I could have synergy with my own expertise. Then you need to contact the research leader, but here there's an important point. Your email really needs to stand out. Professors receive thousands of ChatGPT written emails nowadays, and you need to pitch something different. In my case, I make sure to send a strong motivation letter explaining why I was interested in their work and how I could contribute, along with a well-structured CV, highlighting my key achievements. Finally, the proposal isn't just about of what you want to do, it's about of what you can achieve together with the host. The best projects emerge when the host and your expertise complement each other in a way neither of you could accomplish that project alone. For me, this meant carefully analyzing my potential host strengths, identifying how my background could bring something new to the table, merging knowledge and pushing boundaries. As a summary, a well-organized project will need clearly explaining the scientific challenge and why it matters, justifying the approach, and demonstrating how it's outside of the state of the art and its feasibility within the host group. A brief justification about the impact, not only on your career, but also on the field and long-term collaboration. Tailoring the language to make it accessible to an interdisciplinary panel, finding the balance between ambition and feasibility, because the Humboldt is 2 years and that's a short time, and aligning your profile with the Alexander von Humboldt key values, which are international mobility, scientific excellence, synergy, and long-term collaboration.
Yeah, thank you. So you do not only have the experience of applying for that fellowship, but you also applied for different programs. I remember the last time you were in the middle of the process of applying for the Marie Curie fellowship, but maybe you have gained more experiences, or what can you share about the application processes in general?
Yeah. Yes, Rebecca, last year I applied for the Marie Curie Fellowship and I thought I didn't get it. I came very close. I scored 91 out of 100, while the usual cutoff is around 93 points. This fellowship, which is one of the most prestigious in Europe, will open many doors for me in academia, and it will provide not only funding, but also strong recognition and career opportunities. One takeaway from this experience is that combining the application for Humboldt and Marie Curie fellowships is a smart strategy, because both require a well-structured proposals, and once you have a solid Alexander von Humboldt project, which is 5 pages, you can refine it and expand it for a Marie Curie application, which is 10 pages. And that's beneficial because you are starting from something instead of starting from scratch. Of course, you need to adapt the focus, but the core research idea remains the same. Also, this fellowship is a little bit more difficult because it also evaluates aspects that goes beyond pure scientific excellence. So you need to demonstrate impact, not only in academia, but also for society, for industry or economy. And making a strong proposal, you need to align with the broader European priorities, such as the European Green Deal, showing how your research contributes to sustainability and long-term innovation. Even though I didn't secure this funding, working on this application also made me think more strategically about my research and its real-world impact, and that's an invaluable lesson.
Perfect, thank you. And my last question to you would be, what inspired you to decide to come from Spain all the way to Germany, and how has this move impacted your academic and professional goals?
Yeah, well, my decision to move from Spain to Germany was driven by my long-term goal of becoming a research group leader in a future in Spain. So in my field, having international experience is crucial. Working abroad for at least 2 years is often seen as essential. So you will gain the necessary skills, networks, and credibility to lead a successful team. Also, my girlfriend is also living, is a researcher here in Bonn, so we both believe that going to Germany will be an excellent opportunity for both of us because this country provides with the right environment for professional growth, and the resources available here are invaluable for both of us.
Thanks a lot, Marcos. I think
The
that was
pleasure is mine.
and truthful insight into the realities of a research career as a young international scientist. Yeah, we will continue right away. Coming up, Dr. Magdalena Pacheco will speak about how she combined a DAAD and Alexander von Humboldt funding with her diverse career stages and networking skills. So, hi, Magdalena. We are so curious to hear from you. My first question would be, how did your initial DAAD and Alexander von Humboldt funded stays in Germany influence your career trajectory, especially your work at the ministry and then later academia?
Hello, everyone. If you said, I have a diverse career path, and regarding my fellowship in Germany, initially I received the research fellowship to conduct a research stay at the department management at the University of Rostock. This was on time. I was preparing my PhD thesis. And this time is important correctly to define the research program, the research problem, to set the objectives, to select the research methods. And at this stage, for me, was very important the support of my host professor from management department at the University of Rostock. He become familiar with in your research team, of course. I have the opportunity to participate in various research seminars and to present my ideas, and later to make my own elaborate research outline and to receive Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship. After my after that, I have defended my PhD thesis, and I leave academia. I start working at the Ministry of Regional Development and Public Works in Bulgaria. I come from Bulgaria, and in such one department was responsible for operational program funded from European Union, European Regional Development Fund co-funded program. And I was there about 7 years professional experience with projects management and local development, to have contact with the municipalities, but I didn't stay to have contact to Germany, to my colleagues in Germany, and also from academia side here in Bulgaria. And I decided to leave this kind of administrative and civil servant work, and I come back to academia. In this was a good decision for me because I here have more freedom to make research, to participate or lead the different research projects, and I my advice to everyone who would like to have a career, academic career in academia or outside academia, just try and to make and to find the opportunity to be in Germany with a research fellowship, and to try to have their own small research project. It's very good decisions.
Perfect, thank you. So you already spoke about the importance of having and keeping up with networking. And you are also part of the Alexander von Humboldt network in Bulgaria, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Of course, Bulgaria, we have a very active Humboldt Union. Our Humboldt Union, there are different sections, and I am participate in this humanities and social sciences research section. And we have living in a very, very collaborative environment. And the colleague organized different meetings, Humboldt colleagues. The previous year, we have a Humboldt colleague regarding the human and artificial intelligence in science and society. And in the next year, we have planned another Humboldt colleague, Excellence in Science and Global Challenges. And here we stayed connected with other Humboldtians in Bulgaria, but through the alumni portal Germany, Deutschland alumni portal Germany, we have the opportunity as alumnus to collaborate with people from different backgrounds. And there is another very interesting program regarding the mentorship, female forward program, and to have a contact with the younger people and the older one, but for people who make research in Germany, to have this networking contact. It's very important for joint research, for joint publication, for joint research projects. And Mikhail said also from the European Union, we have different requirements for partnership and partnership networking and consortia, and to jointly research. It's a very important, and that's why.
Thank you. I think you already gave so many practical tips that, yeah, I think many people could take away something from that. So thank you so much for those motivating and interesting insights. There will probably be so many more questions later on to you, so I will just continue now. We are now coming to today's final presentation by our dear Professor Oluwatoyin Odeku. Toyin, you can go ahead. I will stop sharing my screen and then you can share yours.
Thank you very much, Clarissa. Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be on this platform and to share my experience over the past few years. I hope you can see my slides.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I can see a black screen.
Okay.
Now, yeah.
Can
now
you see it now?
The editing mode. So
Okay.
you need to start the presentation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here, like I mentioned. My name is Oluwatoyin Odeku. I'm a professor of pharmaceutics at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. The University of Ibadan is the first university in Nigeria and the oldest. We're over 75 years old. I'm an alumnus of the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. I've won the DFG grant. I've won the DAD fellowship, and I'm going to be talking about this during the course of my presentation. And I'm currently the Humboldt Ambassador Scientist in Nigeria. So I'm going to be talking about some my experiences in Germany with my research. For my educational background, I'm a pharmacist. I have a Bachelor of Pharmacy degree from the University of Ife and a master's degree. I actually obtained all my degree in Nigeria. And for postdoctoral fellowship, I had it at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, or UNESCO Israel co-sponsor postdoctoral fellowship. And also I had a brief postdoc in at the University of Manchester, and I've received other grants. I've served as the Dean of the Faculty of Pharmacy, I've served as the head of the department, I've served as the director. So that's my background and who I am presently. I'm presently in Nigeria. I'm a professor of pharmaceutics at my university. I got my first German funding in 2007, and it was a George Foster Fellowship awarded by the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, which I spent at Martin Luther University, Halle. I spent 1 year there, and because, you know, as a woman, you have family commitments, you have to take care of your children, and I felt I should come back to Nigeria after 1 year. But you see, one of the advantages of the Humboldt Foundation Fellowship is the fact that you have so many alumni support, which I'm going to be talking about. I'm also a DAD alumni, which I spent 3 months at the University of Wolfsburg in 2009. I had a research group linkage, also supported by the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. And just a few years ago, we got a DFG grant to initiate research collaboration with my host in Germany. And actually, I've also, apart from the first Humboldt Foundation Fellowship, we also have the opportunity of renewed research stay, where you can also go back to your host institution or any others to continue your research in Germany. So the DFG grant allowed us to further expand the collaboration because it involves training. I was in Germany with 3 of my colleagues to undergo training in metabolomics. And then currently I have a research group linkage grant that is running at the Free University, and I just returned about 2 weeks ago with my postdoc and my students who are on the project. They spent 3 months at the Free University. Importantly, I'd like to talk about the benefits of the Humboldt research, about the fellowships in Germany. And I think because of the so many other grants and fellowships I've had the opportunity of winning, I want to say one of the most robust fellowships you can get is the German funding. This is because you have excellent infrastructure and state-of-the-art equipment. You have access to equipment in your own research lab, and then you can also select your research topic and your academic host. Someone was asking about artificial intelligence and all that. I tell you, I think if I'm correct, Clarissa can bear me out. We have over 300 host institutions, and apart from the research institutes like the Leibniz, Elmos, and all that. So you have a wide variety of hosts that you can select from. And then you can select your research topic in agreement with your host. Then you get to conduct your research and publish in English. These so that you are able to gain both. Someone was asking in the chat box about the language course, the Alexander von Humboldt, and also the DAD, if you are for PhD, actually support you to learn the German language, which is a very good plus because you get to learn and speak another international language. And then, of course, the quality of life compared to what we have in most developed countries is better. You also have opportunity to be mentored by excellent academics. And I mean, when I'm saying it, you have people with vast experience and you're able to cross-fertilize your idea, and it sort of opens up your mind. And then there's a good family support. I always say this is important. I told you I've won other fellowships before, but with the Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship, they support you and your family. Some fellowships will tell you that you cannot come with your children, you know, because the funding is very limited. But I had the opportunity of taking my children. They are now grown men, by the way. I took the 3 of them, and I tell you, they could speak better German language than myself. One of them still speaks very fluently. And So you have that, you have your family with you. So as a researcher, as a woman, you tend to be more settled because, of course, you are not worried of what is happening to them back home in your country. Then, importantly, what I've found to be most beautiful about the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation are the alumni supports. Apart from the Renew Research Day, you also have sub-equipment grants. This is the lab funded by the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. So I have equipment and I can conduct my research, and my students also can make use of the lab, okay? And also you have, Magdalena was talking about Humboldt College. You also have alumni support. In 2021, I won the Humboldt Award for Innovative Networking. And with this, I expanded the mentorship program, which I had for women in academia. So we had a conference, we had a training workshop, and we started that in 2021. And that mentorship program has grown and has expanded. In our network cuts across over 60 universities in Nigeria presently. Another alumni support that I received was to host the Humboldt Foundation Humboldt College in 2024. It was like a follow-up for our activities with the mentoring because it was focused on women, empowering women. And I tell you, at this conference, the men came out strong, that they also needed a mentorship program. We also received just this year, because I belong to the DAD alumni group in Nigeria. I'm actually the secretary of the DAD alumni network. So in Nigeria, so we hosted a conference in Ibadan in July, and it was massive. And of course, with this, we are now extending to having regional conferences because Nigeria is a vast country with over 220 million. So we intend to take such workshops to other parts of Nigeria. Importantly, what this funding gives you is the international recognition. And presently, I'm a member of the International Advisory Board of the Humboldt Foundation Fellowship. And last year, December, I won a Nature Award for mentoring in science, recognizing my contribution to mentoring. And of course, I'm also a fellow. I'm also a fellow of several academic and professional body like Nigerian Academy of Science, African Academy of Science, and so on and so forth. So it sort of opens you up to wide opportunity because you are able to network. What are the challenges? Yes, language barrier at the beginning. Before you learn the language, you know, if you're not careful, you feel lost, especially. Although in the university, you will usually find people that can speak very fluent English, but when you have to interact with people, and I always believe part of interaction, part of education is learning the language. Then the weather in Nigeria, we have 12 months summer in quotes, you know, and the first time I was in Europe, you know, it gets dark by 3 p.m. and you wonder what is going on, but you get to adjust to that. Then you have the cultural adaptation. Of course, the culture is different, the food is different, and all that. And then, if you're not careful, if you come to go to a city where the people are a little more reserved, you may not have enough social network. Sometimes it will take time for you to fully integrate. And then, of course, you have visa issues and all that. But I tell you, it's usually not a problem for once you are funded by either of the German funding agencies, because of course it's the government giving you money, but sometimes some of these things takes time. What are the hints I want to share as I close my presentation? Number one is be open-minded. I've found colleagues say, oh, they're in this area of research. And I sometimes tell them that your research is probably, Europe has been there about 20 years ago and they have left that stage. So you have to be open-minded and be ready to learn new things. Number two, you must be ready to learn the language. It helps you with your social interaction. It helps you with your communication. It helps you to settle down fast. Then the other thing is you must be focused on your career development. Getting some of this foundation takes time and careful planning. You need to plan. It's not, I think one of the speakers was talking about the fact that you have the Humboldt Foundation asks for a 5-page proposal, 5-page of being able to communicate your ideas clearly. Okay, so you must be focused, and you will have, if you are applying for postdoc, you should show that your PhD, you are able to demonstrate excellence, because if you are applying for the Humboldt Foundation Fellowship, that excellence is the key word. So you must be able to inculcate that in your practice, and then don't rush your application. If you are sending cold email, there are techniques for writing your cold email. If not, they will go unanswered. Okay, so it's important for you to develop yourself and start by doing what is right. The other thing is for you to create a publishing strategy. What do you leave a paper track? If you spend 3 months in a lab, you must be able to show evidence of what you did within those 3 months. You know, this is what will give you, of course, when your application is being reviewed, this is one of the things, you know, your host must be able to say something about you. And you should have if you're able to publish in good journals, it shows indeed you are able to gain something out of that lab. And of course, if you are awarded the fellowship, you'll be able to do better. Then it's important for you to integrate with colleagues in your host institution. Don't be an island. I found that over the years, I've found a long-lasting friend. In fact, there's one of my collaborators at the University of Potsdam. We've been collaborating for over 10 years, and we are still collaborating. And then you should participate in the social programs going on within your institute. This is how you get to meet people. For instance, if you are there for PhD and you have the intention of doing a postdoc, you should be able to network and then attend conferences, be visible. Above all, I'll say don't give up. Sometimes it's very difficult for you to get a host, and that is where the focus comes in. Be focused. If you intend to apply for any of this fellowship, don't give up. Keep trying until you are able to get one. Thank you very much. I want to appreciate the opportunity to make this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thuyen. These were so many very helpful tips. And we saw that you have so many questions. While every speaker was presenting, we already answered to so many questions. So there are a couple of still open questions, and we will come to them now. So if you have further questions, you can still type them. We can even extend the whole session for like, let's say 10 more minutes. And we will try to answer some of the questions. Yeah, and in the meantime, I would like to ask all the speakers to switch on their cameras so that we can see you when you are answering questions. And while doing so, dear audience, you can keep typing your questions into the dedicated Q&A box. We will be mainly focusing on general questions and funding experiences. And as I said, many questions are already answered. And the few open questions will be answered now. Verbally or in a written manner. So while you're typing or reading through the answers, we will provide you with a little summary of our main takeaways from all speakers. Indy, would you like to start maybe?
Yes, sure. Well, I think that was the goal. We had a very diverse group to show you the diverse opportunities in Germany. And also starting with Antonia, sharing her experience with a work contract at university. Manuel benefited from short-term funding opportunities, such as the DAD summer schools, and Alexander von Humboldt, and also how things are moving forward. We're all thumbs are crossed or fingers and thumbs are crossed for what's upcoming. um exactly, and I think I'm checking, we have so many great insights. Avi, she was unfortunately not here, but she gave an insight about how her master's was and already getting a foot into Germany, how that helps to get to network and know many different people and opportunities. And yes, I think Mikhail demonstrated receiving multiple fundings through his PhD career from things from university, DAD, open positions, part-times, trying to make many fundings, working right after each other in order to fill the gaps and not to have any gaps, as well as applying for multiple fellowships, sometimes with success and sometimes maybe not that much, but always learning from the mistakes and trying to make the applications better. That was from Marcus, and I think that these are very valuable information, and which somehow connects you with everyone who's here who had positive experiences, who maybe failed but not giving up. I think we heard a couple of times not giving up and still trying your best. Yeah, so great insights. And maybe because there was one question, Clarissa, that I saw multiple times in the chat when it comes to where does I'd like to research in AI or environment field or building and so on. And as Toyin said, there are so many, I think over 1,000 institutions in Germany in research fields. So I posted a couple of interesting databases for you in the chat where you can click through and see who does research in which fields. And that will be like the starting point, finding the right shoe, the right fit. It's like a marriage, and trying to see who fits to your portfolio, which fields would be interesting, which professor could be suitable for you, and then moving forward. Yes, so that was like one of the main inputs I wanted to share with the group. And yes, I think we have multiple questions. Maybe we can move to the questions that we have.
I would maybe quickly just summarize that what
Go
Magda
ahead.
and have been saying so that we get that back into mind.
Yes, please.
Magdalena illustrated how combining DAAD and Alexander von Humboldt funding enables diverse career paths in both academia and policy, which is a great combination and merge. And she emphasized the importance of strong networks, which is also a very important point. And Toyin highlighted that long-term academic success is supported by multiple fellowships, including the DAAD, the Alexander von Humboldt, and UNESCO. And she stressed the role of strong networks as well and mentorship in unlocking continuous funding opportunities. So I would say that's as a summary, and maybe we jump right into one of the final questions. We had, for example, one highlighted question to Manuel or any other researcher in Germany. I'm just going to read that out. It's from one person who's asking, I am also into sustainable mobility. I have a master's degree from TH Köln, currently living in Mexico. I have applied for scholarships and PhD positions. Unfortunately, I've not been granted with scholarship or a position. So any recommendations? Maybe Manuel, you would like to go ahead because the person wanted to know your answer. And any other person can add on to that. We cannot hear you, Manuel.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so I think I'm the to answer this question because I'm also trying to apply for a PhD. But from my experience with applying for some of these opportunities, all I can say is keep applying, expand your or broaden your horizon. Also, I don't think it's just about Germany, it's also about European research. So I, for instance, like I said, I ask AI to give me the top 5 universities in each European country related to my topic. And then AI makes the recommendations and I go to their websites to do the searching myself, sending professors a lot of emails. I don't know how many emails I've sent, but I very much know the number of responses I've received. And I also think that we should, as much as possible, try to tailor our proposals and all these things. Sometimes what we want to do doesn't really match the qualifications or the expertise of the supervisor or the university, which is something I have really learned to do coming to Germany for my research. And sometimes too, what you may want to do may not be openly written as a program or whatever. You need to research more into the university's program. I am interested in transport policies, which is under humanities, but I recently found a university in Poland and it falls under mathematics and natural sciences, which I was surprised about. Ideally, I wouldn't have gone to check such a place. So broaden your horizon, broaden your search, make use of AI to help you do some of this research, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a success rate. I'm in this ship with you also in applying for a PhD, so this is the little advice I can give you, and I hope we meet someday in a conference with our PhDs here.
Thank you. Does anyone else from the speakers would like to add on to Manuel's comment? If you have any more tips?
I would also recommend to use THE, that ranking. It's the ranking of the universities all around the globe, so you can really see which one are actually like the best based on research or based on education, depending on your interest. So that website is super useful. I will write it in the chat if you want.
Perfect. Yeah, I recommend everyone checking if you already received an answer to your question, because many questions are answered already. And even my colleague just now inserted the matching link. Yeah, would you like to continue, Indy, with another question maybe?
Yes, sure. I just read one that was, but I was in the chat for a second. I think we heard many things about the language, but one second. I had a very nice one. Yes. Do any of you have advice on how to find a host institution for larger fellowships or grants? Does anyone has already experienced? I don't know, Toyin, we can't see you at the moment, but perhaps you can also add, or anyone who has been through that, maybe you can share your experience.
Yes.
So I can. Okay, sorry.
Maybe
Go on,
first.
Manuel. Okay. Okay. Actually, you can go through, in addition to the DAD site, you can go to the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation site. And I also advise people to look at the publications. Who are those that you have cited in your research? Or look at people's publications, those that have published in the area you are interested in. Go to their websites, search through what they're doing. Sometimes it might not be exactly what you want to do, but you'll be able to find an overlap, especially if they have the right facilities for you to carry out the research. I think I won't say it's a one-way fits all. It's just, you just have to be innovative. For instance, when I wanted to apply for Humboldt Foundation Fellowship, I was searching for a host like 2 years on and off. Today I'll search, tomorrow I'll leave it. But one day I was actually working on a manuscript and I needed a publication. And I just, voila, I came across that particular researcher that fit exactly into what I wanted to do. And that was it. So you just have to be creative and don't give up.
Perfect. Thank you, Toyin. Maybe because this another question which was raised so many times, which is where I'm just going to repeat it very quickly. It was the question about language, and there was a debate in the chat whether mandatory or not. There seems to be a diverse spectrum of answers. So maybe Mikkel, would you like to put your statement?
Yeah. As a mechanical engineer, I would say that for most of positions in my field, it's important, very important. Unless you have a very, very good CV with a list of publications, it's very important. But because we need to talk with companies, regardless of your position here or your topic, you're probably gonna be asked to write projects, and that implies that you're gonna need to talk with some companies, or at least with other groups, and normally they do it in German. But doesn't mean you cannot arrive here without some German and then learn here. That's also possible, especially for those who are arriving in the master's time, or some that are arriving in the postdoc time, because normally postdoc already have publications, for example. I think the biggest problem for the language is actually outside the academia. Is to live, to make friends, to get inside the society. That's more difficult than handle with the language inside the academia itself. And also, I had contact with some other groups here because although my group is from mechanical engineer, we are hosted in a building from physics. And there are people from physics, from chemistry, and I think that those groups, those fields are more advanced in this topic. They are speaking more language. They receive people from other countries, so they're more open to having English as a regular basis, as a basic language for everyone.
Maybe if I can add something shortly, of course, whatever makes a person unique, you'll get an advantage. So if you have German, that will be a plus. If you don't, and your portfolio therefore is kind of very good, then sometimes the professors will see. I think it really depends on the position you're applying. If it's a requirement, then it's out of the question. It's a requirement. Some teams require that you have the language. Some say basic would be enough. And of course, you can always work on it and improve it during your time. But it also depends a lot on where you are in Germany. There's just some cities like Berlin where English is very normal and you hear it everywhere, not just English, all languages, but other cities that might be a little bit smaller, then it's of course a completely different experience. So I would definitely see what the requirements are. If it's a position, again, they state it clearly, either you have to have it or you don't. And also, again, it's up to you. The more unique you put yourself there, the more opportunities you might have. So maybe a start if Germany would be a long-term perspective for you, for sure. I see Antonia is raising her hand. Would you like to add something to that, Antonia?
Yes, because I really agree with Mikkel actually in this point, because I'm also from the engineering perspective, having studied also living here, it's important, and maybe a practical point of view, there is everyday German or German that we learn in courses, and there is academic German. So especially because we are talking about research and we are talking about engineering or physics or maths or whatever, this is another topic. So, and especially in the engineering part, I really second this statement, because there is a lot of communication with companies, with equipment, with, I don't know, with everything, especially when we are talking about research who is in close collaboration with the industry. There is professors, mine including, I have only English-speaking colleagues, also in the same department, similar research, but honestly, we have to address, there is some limitations when it comes to some parts. So it is a great advantage for a country in generally, like Germany, not only research, but also in the industry, I would say.
Thank you for that comment, Antonia. Yeah, I think you need to decide on your own if you want to do a German course or not, but it will never hurt. And it will definitely always be a plus. I think that's what we can take away. There's a question about if we can all drop off our emails. I mean, now here I just inserted the slide with the email addresses of our dear esteemed speakers, and I will share our contact information in just a minute. And please read through the chat again. We answered all the questions. And maybe one, I saw another question which I can maybe answer quickly. There was a question if there is any funding for senior scientists. And I think you should also go on the DAAD website as well, because you can even filter if you're a senior scientist. But which is important to know that there is rather short-term funding for experienced researchers, such as awards and short-term grants. And even Alexander von Humboldt, for example, has a few offers, but I recommend you to check out the DAAD website for that as well. This is maybe one comment I can give as well. And maybe one last question, if there is any last question. Ingi, do you see a striking one?
I was again putting links in the chat and our contacts. I think this is also an interesting point. Can we survive in Germany doing PhD and postdoc phase without a funding? Because not everyone might be lucky. Of course, there are lots of opportunities and lots of challenges, but maybe if you had like phases where you were not covered through funding or work contract, maybe you can share what you did or how it was. Yes, Miguel, yeah?
Okay, that's for me.
Go ahead.
Once you are a PhD student, you are a student, okay? You have this status of student. Even if you are an employee at university, you need to apply yourself for a PhD. What normally people do is they work, and then when they are almost finished, they apply, they pay the semester fee, and then they become students. So what I mean is there is nothing that there is no need to have a scholarship or ever to be a student. The problem is visa. Okay, you need to prove that you have some way to live here. It can be, I don't know, your parents, or it depends on your country as well. And yeah, that's the way. So if you really need, you can have some mean jobs, which are, if I've not got it right, 10 hours a week.
20, I think, maximum would be, in order to not lose the student status. It cannot exceed 20 hours per week. Yeah.
Yeah, and many undergraduate students, they survive using these things. They live from mean jobs and they do their studies, and there is nothing, as you can be here as a student, even for PhD, you can have a student visa. Nothing will stop you to live also in this situation, you know.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Mikael, for that answer. Yeah, money and lively costs in Germany are definitely not too easy to handle. So working is unfortunately mandatory in order to survive. Yeah, unfortunately, we have reached the end of our Q&A session. If you still have any unanswered question, you can find the contact details of our speakers here. You can just take a picture very quickly or a screenshot, and we will upload today's PowerPoint presentation as aforementioned on our website in the coming days. I will now share with you our contact details. You can scan the QR codes, and also my colleague posted our website link in the chat as well. So now I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. A special thank you to our speakers, to your inspiring and insightful presentations and interviews. Your expertise and perspectives have made this event really valuable. So thank you to each of you and to our audience. We appreciate your active participation. There were so many thoughtful questions, and your engagement is what makes these events so impactful. So please, now one last favor. Now is the time. After leaving this webinar, another tab will open automatically. And so please take this 1 minute to fill out the survey, which will open automatically. It would mean the world to us, so that we can continue evolving those events. So thank you again. We look forward to seeing you at our next event on November the 18th, also at 4 p.m. Central European Time. And yeah, until then, stay tuned and have a wonderful rest of your day. And bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Have a nice afternoon.